Hi and welcome to Taunton, the county town of Somerset. Now, those regular viewers of mine will recognise that I have been here a number of times before, but today I'm here for something a little bit different. I'm going to do the Taunton Town Heritage Trail. Been wanting to do this for ages, finally got around to it, and I've been living in Taunton and the surrounding areas for a long time, but I've never known much about the history of it, and so today I'm going to follow this heritage trail, really excellent heritage trail, and I'm going to learn some really interesting things about the place where I've lived for almost 20 years and know very little about. So let's start. So just behind me there is the market house, and that's where this heritage tour starts from. It's also the home to the Taunton Visitor Centre, and there's a really excellent resource there for places to go both in Taunton and locally around the Somerset area. So you can get a map of this heritage trail from there, or you can do as I did and print it off of the Visit Somerset website. So looking at the heritage tour guide that I've printed off, let me just tell you a little bit about the market house. This imposing building was originally constructed in 1772 in what has traditionally been known as the centre of the town. Designed by Copplestone War Bamfield, I think that's how you say it, it was laid out into different apartments for the purposes of justice, amusement and pleasure. On the ground floor was the Guild Hall, where magistrates would sit to clear cases every week, and the first floor contained the superb assembly room, which included a music gallery, two elegant and large glass chandeliers, and a full-length portrait of George III. These days the market house is occupied by things like a dance school, as I said, the Visitor Information Centre. It's home of the Taunton Town Chaplaincy as well, and also the radio station Tone FM. Due to the timber framing, this building was known for a long time as the Tudor Tavern. It was refronted in 1578, and it was once owned by the Trowbridge clothiers, whose initials appear on the facade. In 1685, it was occupied by a wealthy grocer called Thomas Baker, and he was the father of two of the maids of Taunton, who welcomed the Duke of Monmouth to the town. It was subsequently occupied by one of the infamous, ill-fated Duke of Monmouth's Privy Council. There's so many lovely independent places to eat and drink in Taunton, but I'm going to nip into Cafe Nero now, just so I can show you inside really. I'll grab a coffee and then we'll continue with the heritage tour. Well, that was a very nice coffee, thoroughly enjoyed that. It was very busy in there actually today. I'd hoped to film a little bit more of the inside, but I hope I gave you a little bit of an idea about what it was like. I was listening to somebody actually, I heard a conversation in there, and somebody was saying that they remember it when it was a Burney Inn. Do you remember it when it was a Burney Inn? If you know Taunton, if you've lived in Taunton or you visited, do you remember when it was a Burney Inn? Let me know in the comments. You might want to grab yourself a coffee actually. There's about 18 places we're going to visit on this trail today. We've done 2 of them. It's got another 16 to go, but we'll keep the video moving quite fast. So the next place for us to visit on our little heritage trail is Bath Place. Just heading down there now through this lovely alleyway. From the Middle Ages, Bath Place was the main thoroughfare to the west of the town until Corporation Street was cut in 1894. It's home to some beautiful independent shops and specialist shop, and they operate from a near complete set of 19th century shop fronts, characterised by these gorgeous octagonal fan lights. So just made my way to the end of Bath Place, and this isn't in the Heritage Trail, but I just wanted to tell you about it because I came here for the first time a few weeks ago, and oh my goodness, it's really lovely Caribbean food. Let me just show you a little bit of the food that I had in there while we walk to our next destination in Corporation Street, which is the Mecca Bingo. So next we're heading to the Mecca Bingo. It used to be known as the Gourmand Theatre. And this purpose-built cinema was erected in 1931 to 1932 to the Art Deco design of W.T. Beslin. The sculpted panel depicting love and life entangled in film above the entrance is really worthy of note. I've never seen this before, to be honest. And this was also the venue for 2 Beatles concerts in 1963. I never knew that either. So we're now at Hunt's Court, or the Cosy Club, and purpose designed by Samson and Cottam, this 1905 art school has the most imposing neoclassical facade in Taunton. Just next to the Cosy Club is the cider press garden. I've often wondered what this is actually. I've walked past it so many times and never taken any notice of what it actually is. So now I know it's an old cider press, and it was a gift to Taunton and its people from the Taunton Cider Company in their Golden Jubilee year of 1971. So we're now at the library. As you might imagine, this used to be a library, it's now a bar. The town's public library was opened here in 1905 to the design of architect Alexander Little of London, and it was part funded by the Carnegie Foundation. It remained the town's library until 1996, when its conversion to a public house raised some eyebrows due to the covenant applied by the Carnegie Foundation that alcohol must not be consumed on the premises. So this is the old Municipal buildings. It's now the registry office. The section to the right of the main door was built in 1522 to house the town's grammar school. It was founded by Richard Fox, who was then Bishop of Winchester. It cost a whole £226 to build. It was badly damaged in 1645 during the Civil War, and it was restored and continued as a school until 1885. It then became offices of the Taunton Corporation until its widespread offices were centralised in 1987. So our next stop is going to be Castle Bow, which is just down here, and I'll tell you a little bit about that when we get there. Just noting facilities there on your left. Oh, I think I can hear Louis Martello on the trumpet. He's been in quite a few of my videos. He busks in Taunton, but he's actually a well-known musician worldwide, actually. So Castle Bow is the last surviving remnant of Taunton Castle's outer bailey, the keep having been destroyed on the orders of Charles II. Originally, this was the east gate to the castle and had a drawbridge. This is the Castle Hotel, absolutely gorgeous. It was built in the late 18th century as a private residence. The building was first converted to its current use in 1834, when it opened as Suites Hotel. This prestigious hotel is well known today for its elegant accommodation and beautiful wisteria in the spring. So right next to the Castle Hotel is the Museum of Somerset in Taunton Castle. Taunton was from the early 10th century part of the vast estate held by the Bishop of Winchester, and at this time the site occupied by the castle was probably the location of the Bishop's Hall. The castle was the scene of the bloody assize when Judge Jeffreys tried over 500 supporters of the failed Monmouth rebellion in 1685. The building was also a prison, and in 1707 the last trial in the southwest of someone accused of witchcraft took place here. I need to charge my phone now, so just while I do that, let me just show you inside the museum. I was in there a few weeks ago. There is just so much to see and to learn about Somerset's history. I could go there numerous more times and still not learn everything and see everything. It's really good, really interactive. I think my favourite room at that point when I visited a few weeks ago was the cauldron room. So just now I mentioned about the Monmouth Rebellion, and if like me you don't know anything about it, let me tell you about it. Well, we head over to our next location, which is St James's Church. The Monmouth Rebellion of 1685 was an attempt to usurp King James II by James Scott, the first Duke of Monmouth. He claimed to be the rightful heir of the crown because he was the illegitimate son of King Charles II. The rebellion didn't last long and ended with the Battle of Sedgemoor. The Duke was executed and his supporters were subjected to trials overseen by Judge Jeffreys. The rebellion happened because the supporters of the Duke were against the new king because he was a Roman Catholic. But Judge Jeffreys, who wasn't a Catholic himself, was determined to uphold the rights of the royals and prerogatives, and people were afraid of the repercussions. It's all rather really gory. I'd encourage you to read more about it. People were hung, drawn and quartered. So we're just passing through Goodlands Gardens at the moment. That's the shed over there. Used to be a toilet block. It's been converted into a really lovely coffee shop. It's not open today though, same as quite a lot of places, because it's kind of Twixmas at the moment, in between Christmas and New Year, and a lot of places are shut today, but it is a lovely place and it's lovely outdoor seating there as well. There's the rainbow path, there's the town bridge. The bridge has recently been painted, it's looking really lovely. So this video today is focusing on the Heritage Trail, but I've made other videos in Taunton as well. I'm going to link to one I made in 2022, which gives a good look around Taunton as well. I'm going to link to that at the end. I'm also going to link to a really interesting video about Taunton's timeline. You can see it on the front of Debenhams. It's really, really interesting, so I would encourage you to watch that. It's just a very short video, I think it's about 5 minutes, so I linked to that. It's not by me, it's by somebody else, but I think it's really good. It'll give you a good flavour of the history of Taunton. So here we are at St James's Church, the first of two churches we're going to visit this afternoon. The other one is Taunton Minster, also known as St Mary's. I did try to get in, but I couldn't get in unfortunately, so I just need to tell you about it from the outside. So this late medieval church with its fine 15th century font and pulpit was originally built to serve inhabitants who lived outside the town's defences. The tower, in common with most medieval churches, was rebuilt in 1871 to 1875. So we're now at the Somerset County Cricket Ground with these amazing lights. They're so tall they can be seen from miles around. They're really, really bright as well. So Somerset County Cricket Club was established in 1875 and their first match at their home ground, was played in 1882. The next place we're looking at is the Priory Barn, which is the home of the Somerset County Cricket Museum. I went here a few months ago, so let me just show you inside it. This building dates back to the late 15th century and is the only surviving building of the Augustine Priory, which was dissolved in 1539. So we're now heading down Middle Street towards Taunton Minster, hoping that the Taunton Minster Cafe is going to be open. Getting a bit peckish and quite cold actually. The temperature is really dropping today. There's the view there of St James's Tower from Middle Street. And then across the other side of the road we've got a view of Taunton Minster, St Mary's. Somerset House. I'm noticing, excuse the seagulls, I'm noticing so many old buildings around Taunton that I've never looked at before. Not just the ones on the Heritage Trail, but there's just so many gorgeous old buildings as I'm walking around. It's really, really lovely to look at them, and I'd love to know the history of some of them as well. Oh, it's locked. Unfortunately it's locked today, but I have been in there before, and as I said, there's a really lovely coffee shop in there. I'll show you some footage of it. You can also go in there during the peregrine falcon breeding season as well. They have a camera on top of the tower that looks onto the nesting box. That's all very exciting. And a few weeks ago I climbed the tower, so let me just show you the cafe, let me show you inside the church, and let me show you the climb up to the tower. It was really, really interesting. That was a very steep climb. So there's been a church on this site since the 12th century. The magnificent 163-foot tower was rebuilt to its original design in 1862. In order to raise the stone during construction, a pulley system was used, and it was operated by a donkey walking down Hammett Street. When the work was complete, the donkey was hauled to the top of the tower to admire the view, and that is some way up, I can tell you, after climbing it myself, my goodness. So I was very lucky a few weeks ago to do that tour of the tower. I believe because of the nesting of the peregrine falcons, they can only really operate that tour once a year at the moment. So yeah, I did it just near to Christmas time, as you can tell from all the Christmassy things around. And if you get the chance to do it, definitely do it. It's so interesting. Just 3 more places left on our little heritage trail around Taunton now, so I'll meet you next at the Gray's almshouses. So these almshouses were founded by Robert Gray in 1635, and they still got the original chapel with a painted ceiling. I don't think we can go and have a look at that, but it's good to know. One former female occupant went to sleep every night in a coffin to avoid being handled after death. That was in 1814. So this is number 17 out of the 18 places we visit on our heritage trail, and this is the site of the County Hotel. Until the mid-1990s, this building was occupied by the County Hotel, and it was the last in a series of inns and hotels operating from this site since 1529, when it was recorded as the Three Cups. So here we are at Vivary Park, the last place on our little heritage trail around Taunton. So before I go into the history that's printed on the leaflet about this park, I just want to say a few other things. It's a really good venue. I've been to a few concerts here. I was here for I think it was the Electric Light Orchestra a few months ago in the summer, and also I've seen Paloma Faith here. They have loads of concerts here during the summer, although that said, this summer they're having a fallow year. They're not having any concerts this year, but they will be back next year. So do look out for details of those on Taunton Facebook pages and things. So yeah, I was going to say, it's also the venue for the Taunton Flower Show as well. They host an amazing flower show here every year, and I was lucky enough to get to that this year, so I'm going to show you some footage of that just while I'm chatting here. And now let's have a look at some of the history of this park. The name Vivary Park derives from the area's historical use as a vivarium, 2 fish ponds kept by the bishops of Winchester since at least 1207. Manuscripts dating back from the 1360s show that the vivarium covered some 70 acres and provided fish for banquets. The current park was originally laid out in 1895 and restored with lottery funding in 2002. The ornate fountain was built as a memorial to Queen Victoria. and it was turned on by the mayoress on the 31st of October 1907. Oh, I've always wondered what this is. This imposing red brick building is the Jalalabad Barracks, built in 1881 for the Somerset Light Infantry. Let's go and see if the coffee shop is open here. Ooh, coffee this way, open 10 until 4. It's about 4:45, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be in there very long, but we'll see. Oh, that was so lovely. It was open and I managed to get myself a nice warm drink and a millionaire shortbread. They do the most amazing cakes in there. They're absolutely huge, very, very high. I don't know if you can see them in this little clip that I've got. Really so snug in there. I love going in there, especially during the winter. It's really cosy. So check them out if you're in Vivary Park. Well, that brings to an end this video of the Heritage Trail. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really, really enjoyed walking it. It took me a good few hours because I was stopping to film quite a lot. It could take you a few hours as well because you might do things in a little bit more detail than me. I'd probably allow, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to do it even. A good afternoon out anyway. So yeah, really, really nice. I can highly recommend you do it. It's really opened my eyes as well. Like, I just walk around oblivious sometimes. And it's really interesting to learn about the history of the buildings that are all around me. And that was just a handful of them in that Heritage Trail. There's just so many interesting buildings in Taunton. So is there any way you'd like me to investigate, find out more about, and I can make more videos in the future about other buildings around Taunton? So yeah, do drop me a comment if you'd like me to have a look at something else around Taunton. Thanks so much for watching. Got loads more videos on the channel from all around the southwest of England, not just Taunton. I go the whole Cornwall, Gloucestershire, all the counties. Those were just 2 of them. So yeah, check out my channel, Southwest Sundays. Loads of videos on there. It's free to subscribe and there's no forms or anything to fill in or anything like that. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Don't forget to check out the video of Taunton, the timeline that I'm going to attach at the very end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.